Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Great Pandey Circus. और आज मेरे साथ है मेरा दोस्त तेजस वानी. And the reason why we are having this is because I feel कि Tejas has some nuggets, some wisdom with him, and it will be like in everybody's best interest if that word goes out and people can learn a thing or two from him. Because I have learned a lot, right? That's just my 2 cents on it. So anyway, without further ado, Tejas, क्या आप मेरे श्रोतागणों को अपना परिचय दे सकते हैं?
बिल्कुल केपी. So without going into much detail, I'll just tell you few key points. Like I'm basically from Pune. Did my like all Indian guys did my engineering. So I did my engineering in from NIT Trichy. I'm basically a chemical engineer. After that, I worked for 3 years in MX Foster Wheeler. So I was working in oil and gas industry, but then again, like a typical Indian guy, stuck in corporate rat race.
Yep.
And
We all
seeing,
are, bro.
and seeing my peers going for MS, MBA, I also thought, okay, I should also do something with my life.
Hallmark of Indian education.
Hallmark.
BTech and then MBA.
Yeah. So then I started appearing for CAT. Didn't make it in the first 2 attempts. Didn't make it in the first 2 attempts. In second attempt, I got SPJN, but then I rejected it, thinking like I will be going to ABCL, having that kind of mindset. But in my third attempt,
you cracked it.
I got decent percentile, but still I didn't get good enough percentile to
For
get
ABC.
into ABCL. So
For
again,
those who
I
don't
had
know,
to join.
ABC is Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and Calcutta.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what.
So ended up joining SPGen, and then there I did my 2 years MBA in supply chain management. And from where I was hired by Deloitte, and one thing led to another. Somehow I'm now doing SAP consulting.
And you're sitting right in front of me.
Yeah.
See,
In
that's
Manila.
a perfect lineup of stars. Exactly, man. We were destined to meet, bro. हमारा मिलना लिखा था, इसलिए तू ABC नहीं गया. अगर तू ABC जाता तो शायद तू आज यहाँ नहीं होगा. Anyway, my luck that you're sitting in front of me, and my luck that I learned a lot of things from you. So anyway, to listeners, right? ये basically again like I said, मेरा plan है कि जो इसके पास wisdom है that should go out into the world by the way of this podcast, if anybody is listening, if ever. और ये बहुत ही MVP वर्जन है अभी. द क्वालिटी विल गेट बेटर एज वी प्रोग्रेस बिकॉज आई एम जस्ट यूजिंग अ वेरी बेसिक सेटअप राइट नाउ. सिंपल बड़ी HP लैपटॉप plugged into a condenser mic in his room, not even in my room. So yeah, so like I said, the quality will improve as we move along, but today is just the MVP version of it. So I'm gonna probe him a little bit. I'm gonna ask him a couple of questions, and yeah, so that's the structure of this one, and probably upcoming couple episodes as well. Okay, so Tejas, been meaning to ask you one thing, bro.
Yes.
If you were to tell one thing to your younger self, to your 20-year-old self, or to your, how do I put it, like that, to yourself who had just started to, take those courses at Kota or wherever you did, probably, you must have done it. What would you tell? That, or maybe make it 3 things, and then we can take it from there.
One thing I would suggest my younger self is that take a 1 year gap.
Between?
I was in extended merit list when I appeared for IIT, and fortunately or unfortunately, I got into I was in my 5th round of counseling. I got into NIT Trichy from AIEEE. So I was advised like you should not pursue drop. NIT Trichy is a good college, so yeah, it is.
But you should have taken.
But I would have told my younger self that it's better to take chance when you are young rather than have regrets.
I get it. Which you are having now.
Which I have now. I would have. There would not be this dangling thing in my mind like I didn't make it into IIT, or I didn't. There was a chance. Even though I studied in my first year when I was in NIT Trichy, but then it's already, you are in college life, so you don't study with that
Gusto,
or
right?
that focus. So I think I should have gone for the drop, but I'm not sure whether it worked out for better or worse, but then
Yeah.
that's one thing I would tell my 20-year-old.
Okay, fine. What's the second thing you're gonna tell your 20-year-old self?
I would rather tell it to a 17-year-old
That's better.
that boards are important, because I was brainwashed by my coaching professors like nobody gives a damn about your 12 percentage once you crack IIT. So with that mindset I was preparing, and I neglected my board. So something like I only scored 82% in my board, and which haunted me when I started appearing for interviews in for B school interviews, because right now in India it's very competitive, so they see
It has always been, bro.
it's
It's
always
always
been,
gonna be
and
like
then
that.
they
Yeah,
dig
it's
your
not
history.
changing.
So
Yeah,
how
they
much
do.
is how much is your work ethics, how much is your undergrad CGPA,
So-
how much is your 12 percentage, how much is
Had
your
you
10th.
done good there, do you think there would have been a chance that you could have gotten into ABCs? I mean, the IIMs.
ABCL no, but Kozhikode for sure. Indore yes.
Had it been for good,
Had it been had
Good
I gotten
board
good
marks, huh.
percentage in 12th, but
you
it's
missed it. Oh, shit.
yeah, so it's better if you have 90 90 90. You show that kind of consistency, you have a chance. But then if you have percentage like me, like 93 82 and CAT percentile 96, then you have already missed the bus.
I get it.
Then you really have to
ABCL, yeah.
then you really have to score 99.5 plus, and then
Have a
being
solid
a,
ass
and being from an
recommendation.
engineering background, I couldn't get more than 85 in my verbal. So English is not my strong suit, which
Yeah.
you can guess from this interview
No,
conversation.
man, it's okay. It's better than like 50-60% of the Indians, including me. Anyway, what's the third thing you're gonna tell your younger self? And if you can put a age to it, to your younger self, that'll be better.
I would have told when what happened when we moved to Pune. That's when I realized, like, younger self, I would have definitely tell him to explore more. Don't be what the right word would be. Don't be a kueka mendak. I was doing good in schools, consistently coming in top 3. So I was thinking like I'm a big deal.
This is
but
it, yeah.
I'm a big deal. But then I didn't knew till my 10th, actually even after my 10th grade, that there are people who have started preparing for the competitive exams, engineering entrance exam from 8th standard. They are preparing for
Oh,
international
shit.
Olympiads
Starting like
from
8th,
8th standard.
6th,
So
7th, and yeah.
when I started my IIT prep and I saw my peers, I just realized one thing, like I'm way behind. I mean,
you missed the train.
you can work your ass off, but so is the other person. So
Yeah.
if you have, if
They have been
someone
doing
has,
it since long, right?
they have
Since
been
their
doing
class
it
6
for
and 7th, yeah.
So 8 9 10 they already have 3 years advantage. So those people go on to crack this Olympiads and represent India in some, like,
That's a
national
very
level.
fair
But
point,
then
bro.
that's what I would have told. Like, it's school curriculum will not get you anywhere.
Fair enough. You have to pick
it's
something
better to be-
outside of it.
It's
Yeah.
better to be average performer at school and explore more, rather being a top performer and then get your ego or
Ass handed over to you.
As
Yeah.
handed over to you. And one thing which I realized, that for boys especially, or I would rather say this word general engineer male.
There was some other thing for it, right? STEM, General Indian, dude. I'm forgetting that
general
word.
engineering male. So we are called gems. So
Sure.
if you are not, you will get a reality check very soon.
Yeah.
If you have been good, you have been consistent performer. Yes, you have ticked all the balls, followed your parents, but someday the world will give you a reality check, and then that hits a long time. You cannot be in your cocoon and assume that you know you are something.
Yeah.
You have to prove your worth.
Yeah.
It's not something which gets handed down to you.
And to your point about like starting early, bro, it just does not apply. I mean, it doesn't only apply to education, it applies to almost everything. Man, look at the sportsmen, they start fucking early. We start after our class 12 thinking we can make it into IPL or whatever it is, like, sport. I'm just talking about sports right now. But then look at these sports people, man. Like anyone, they start very early and that's the only thing they do. They don't go to school. They're like very bad at their academics.
Yes.
But what they do right, or what they did right, is like they started playing very early. When they were 13, like barely hit puberty, but they were already playing cricket. Not just cricket, football, you name it, even like UFC guys. I can go on and on about it, but so yeah, you made a very valid point that whatever you want to do, start early. But the argument is some of us might not be mature enough to know what we need, right? And it applies to our parents too as well. Like some of us might not have those kind of parents who can tell us very well in advance that hey, it's about time to start.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile that? If you were to,
You cannot turn the time,
Yeah.
but then you
How
have
do
to
you-
look at life as a chess board.
Mhm.
You are in a position where whatever you have played, you have played. You cannot take that
Yeah.
move back. So
Yeah.
from this point onwards, how you can better yourself. That's the only game. That's the only thing you can is in your control. That's all.
Since you're a poker player, can you convert it into a poker analogy?
Yeah.
The
So
the hand you have been dealt.
you have to play the hand you have been dealt.
Thanks,
I mean,
bro.
sometimes you have been dealt shitty cards, so there are only two options you have. Either you fold and say call it quits,
Okay.
or you have balls enough to bluff.
Fair enough.
And
For those of you who don't know, he is my poker mentor as well. I mean, among other things that I've learned, poker is one among those things. He personally trained me and made me sit on a poker table in one of those casinos over here, and made me play my first hand like professionally. So yeah, thanks Tejas for that analogy and for the free poker lessons. Okay, so this will be the first one, and we'll try to come up with a new one soon. Once we have figured out how to better the quality of our podcast. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in.
thanks for having me.